morning everybody, it's Chris here from Serene Education with the 4 major notes update for the 13th of August 2012. Hi guys, hope you had a fantastic weekend with family and friends and hope you enjoyed what weather we had, because it looks like it's not looking good anymore for the foreseeable future. Anyway, let's get back to business. Let's have a look at the charts, starting with the euro against US dollar, and let's have a look and see what happened last week. So ultimately, let's have a look at the weekly chart, see what happened to that candle. What was candlestick formation last week? And very indecisive, a nice spinning top here, and that spinning top happening at the underside of that 123500. The week before that we saw a punch higher, candlestick actually punching higher, however price actually failing to maintain those highs and falling to the downside. Okay, so not really holding on to that 123500. We were expecting 123500 to be a nice support now, and then price to kick on higher towards that 12700 mark, which actually failed to materialize. So what's actually happened now is price has fallen back below that area. Very small trading range, a lot of indecision through the week, the part of, well, most of last week, and in doing so forming this indecision candle that is sitting below a major support and resistance level. So on our daily we should see exactly that, a lot of indecision, that bullish candle on the Friday, and then we had going into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a lot of indecision on the past the start of the week last week, and then we had that punch through towards the end of the latter part of last week, taking us back below that 123500. We're expecting decision candle on the upper side of this to see if we could move to the upside, with 12700 as a potential first target long term, because we've had this as a price support and resistance on a major long term targets or support and resistance in the past. So you can see quite clearly a lot of hesitation at 12700. So if we had a bounce over here, psychological bounce, and a support being found over here, then ultimately that would have been our first target long term. However, that did not fail to materialize. We had this candle here breaking through this 123,500, and in doing so, price trading back below this major support and resistance level here, 123,500, and you can see the CTC is now back in shape again. The only thing that's missing from here is on our daily, that all important arrow. Okay. However, looking at the intraday charts, you can see that the 123,500, I've marked all these support and resistance lines, trend lines, fib retracement levels have all been drawn on previously, and you can see that the major trend or intermediate trend on this particular chart has been broken just recently. However, price breaking below that 123500 again is looking at price potentially looking to join that trend line again, and you can see at the moment now being capped by the 1222.250 mark. Another support and resistance on our intraday time frames. Notice all the moving averages above price on our 4-hour, including that most important institutional moving average. And you can see that the CTC is very much in our favor now. We have our red arrow, red candle, and the CTC on the other side is very much red. Okay, so the only thing we need now to see further downside movement is to see this all-important 122250 being broken, nice bearish engulfing here, and then intraday we can expect further falls to roughly around the 1213, and eventually down to the 1205 and 1200 mark. As we know, 1200 is our all-important long-term support and resistance level on our intraday, or long term in our weekly and daily time frames. Notice the RSI also finding a lot of resistance now at the 50%, now trading below the 50% line, and as long as it maintains that, then you can see that the sentiment is generally behind the move in the market in this case, which is looking negative at the moment. So looking for trades for the intraday, guys, expect 12225 to be broken first before looking for any further momentum to the downside, and once that has been confirmed, then you can look at your support and resistance levels to the downside to confirm any major targets. There's clearly one over here. There's one at 220. However, there's a far better one here at that 12300 I mentioned on the 4-hour chart below us. So you've got a lot of momentum to the downside. There's a lot to capitalize here. So wait patiently, get a nice break below this 2250 mark over here. You'll notice that the CTC will be in your favor. Everything is looking red. The only thing missing is that bearish engulfing candle, and all important moving averages above price, and the RSI is still trading below that all important 50% line. So get a break below 2250, then we could be looking for those continuations of the downside trend overall towards that 205 and 200 for the remainder of this. Next up is sterling. Let's have a look and see what happened on the weekly last week. More action happening below that 1575, still unable to break and punch through that 1575 mark. Major support and resistance level recently in the past couple of months. As you can see, price is coming unstuck at this level. Notice all the moving averages above price at the level as well. Not really a lot of space in between them, and in doing so, just confirming that indecision on our shorter time frames. You can see a lot of hesitation through this part. If I go back to the daily, I'll show you just now. You can quite clearly see a lot of headbutting at the 15,700 mark. And last week, bullish, however, still being capped by that intraday 1575, 15,700 mark. If I show that on the daily now, you can see I've drawn my major support and resistance levels at these areas, 1575 in particular. There's another one at 1600, a major support and resistance level to the upside, and 15300, a major support and resistance level to the downside. You can see, notice here, price through September, October of 2011, through the early parts of 2012, and June of 2012, we had a nice support bounce on the 15300 mark. So that becomes a major support and resistance. However, we're being capped to the upside by that 157,500, and as long as 157,500 remains intact and price is trading below it, then ultimately we can still see that the sentiment is generally long-term negative. Yes, we are in a consolidative range, but in a negative trend. A major trend is still negative. Okay, so what do we want to see? Well, at the moment now you can see that the fib retracement areas 38.2 is being tested. So we'd like for this to maintain or reattempt those highs here at 15,700. We'd like to see price intraday finding support at this 38.2 mark here, just above the 1567 mark, I think it is, or 66. So make a note of that. 1566 intraday. Go to our 4 hour 1566. You can quite clearly see, there we go, my 4 hour chart. You can see where price is trading. Notice the consolidation here, guys. A bit of a what's it called, channel here, excuse me, Monday morning channel. Price has been trading within this channel quite successfully and finding resistance just recently. So this is to bar this to stop falling again back towards this channel at the bottom, then we need to see something happening around here. Okay, you can see the last 8 hours or so, 16 hours in particular, price has actually found support above this 38.2 area at 1566 after it failed to break higher at this consolidation, this at the top end of this channel. Okay, so to stop this from falling back towards the bottoms of here, then it needs to find support over here. If it doesn't find support here, it'll break below and a close low, then we could see a pullback and then a continuation to the downside in the direction of the actual breakout. You can see failure here in this channel, upside channel, would see price moving sideways. And clearly all the moving average below price at the moment, hence the reason why the CTC is positive. However, for this to be genuine positive sentiment, we do need to see a nice bullish engulfing candle here. Notice we've had a lot of indecisive candles in the past 12 hours, a doji, followed by 2 of these wicks, a lot of wick on either side, candles with a lot of wick on either side, but you can see that the actual sentiment is still favoring the downside. Okay, it's trading at the bottom end of the 50% of these 2 candles. So we want to see a nice bullish engulfing candle actually cancelling out this indecision over here at this major support and resistance intraday. Get that, then we could be targeting that all-important 1575, 15700 mark. Otherwise, break below that close, we should be targeting back towards the institution moving average, roughly around the 15600 for the remainder of this week. Onto the US dollar Swiss franc. Let's have a look at the weekly. And we know that major support and resistance level on our weekly time frame here at 1 is still in play. A lot of resistance and support here previously, going through October, November of 2010, right through to now, bits of October, September, December of 2011, and we've come unstuck yet again just recently in mid-July. However, you can see the price is still trending above a price support and resistance level. It heads up a resistance level previously, roughly around the 96, 96.50. And as long as it trades above here, then ultimately you're going to see potential for price to continue reattempting these areas here. Look at the candle, the indecisiveness in the ranges or in the candles since we've had that first attempt at this psychological round number long-term support and resistance level. Okay. However, what we can do is say to ourselves, well, as long as it keeps maintaining these highs, then we could see price potentially reattempting those highs. Okay. The moment you get a price test a major support and resistance level and a sharp pullback and a fall below a price support and resistance level, then we're going to expect a further pullback to lower levels. In this case, you can see we've had an attempt of a major support and resistance level above us at 1000. The pullbacks happen and it's actually maintained above a prior resistance level right here. You can see at 9650, 9700 in that area. Okay, and as long as it maintains above here, then notice that you're going to see the CTC is still going to remain blue. And most importantly, our shorter term time frames at 20 and 50 are still got a lot of air between them, confirming that that sentiment is still looking positive to the upside. Yes, a very indecisive day last week, or indecisive week last week. Apologies, guys. So we should see that on our daily. Okay, so there we go. What I've done is I've plotted my major support and resistance levels on this particular time frame, and you can see I've got the 1000 above me, and that 9700, 9650 is also that major support and resistance below. And you can see that price has been finding support recently at a prior resistance. Prior resistance, evening star here formation, and then prior resistance, bearish engulfing, then the breakout, then price attempting the 1000, bringing back bearish engulfing a week ago into a major support and resistance level. Two indecisive candles at the underside of it, so we wanted a decision candle, and the decision candle went against us and went up. So got faked out here. I presume a lot of people were looking for prices to fall. However, that wasn't the case. So if you were in this trade and you got stopped out, you should have been trading indecision, rather been far more patient and waited for a decisive candle to be looking for further downside movement. That failed to materialize, and you can see the overall sentiment here on our CTC is still telling us, even though we had a pullback, that momentum still favors longs. Okay, the overall sentiment, underlying sentiment, is still looking positive, and hence the reason why it's still blue on either side. So as long as maintained above 970, then ultimately we're looking for buying sentiment to the upside. Notice short-term intraday, we do have the 50% line here. Notice the two prior days finding resistance here at this 9800, just below the 9800. We do need to see price trading and closing higher than 9800 to see price reattempting 987, I think it is, to the price of one resistance before we see another reattempt of that 1000. So intraday, got to make of these areas. 9800 intraday, there we go, 9800, 979. Here's a major resistance level here. You can see that, a lot of wicks. Price has failed to close above this area here with a nice bullish engulfing candle at any one stage. Yes, the CTC still remains blue, all the moving averages below price, but we do need to see this area here being broken. Nice bullish engulfing candle taking us bang right up into this area here at 981 would be great. That would definitely confirm that sentiment is still looking potentially positive upturn to target 987. Break of that would target the 1000 quite soon. So as it stands at the moment now, all we want is a remain patient, remain positive, wait for a nice break, and close above 980, 981, and then we should be looking for further sentiment to the upside for the remainder of this week. Last pair of the day is US dollar Japanese yen. Let's have a look at the weekly and see what happened last week. Oh, further consolidation at a major support and resistance level. 78 here, a major support and resistance level in the past. If I just zoom out, you can quite clearly see through August, September, October, November, December, January, February of 2011 going into 2012, a major resistance level. Then we had the breakout in February after some fantastic non-farm payroll figures, heading up towards that 80 mark, which happened to be another price support and resistance level, breaking above it nicely with a beautiful engulfing candle with very little wick, so confirming that price sentiment was generally positive, moving higher towards the 8400 and being capped by it. Price moving back, and since then failing to actually find support, and we've seen price going into consolidated range between two major support and resistance levels, the 80 and the 78. This is our third week of indecision. Very small. We had two dojis prior, and then we had a bearish engulfing, not a very decisive candle, very small trading range. That, however, failed to actually punch through the 78 and closed lower, which would have given us a nice, decent sell signal, shorting opportunity. However, that failed to materialize. You can see that price is now consolidating over the past 2 or 3 weeks, going into our fourth week now at the 78, between the 78 and, if I'm not mistaken, 78 and the 78.50, 79 mark. So here on the daily, you can quite clearly see past 2 weeks not really giving us any true buying or selling opportunities. You could say the longer it spends time above 78, then we could potentially see buying sentiment creeping in. However, when we did get a nice little bullish engulfing above a prior consolidated range, it failed to take off. So if it gets to break below 7800, then we're looking for further shorting opportunities towards roughly the 76 mark long term. So it's important, if this remains anyway potentially positive, then we need to see the 78 being a major sticking and becoming a major support for this pair. Otherwise, get a break below that 7800, then we should be looking for nothing more than shorting opportunities. The actual CTC is telling us that we should be looking for nothing more than shorting opportunities. Yes, we do have a blue arrow. However, that's the selling. Listen here, guys, you could see consolidation or potential change in price action, and we are seeing that because it's coming well, this little signal is coming at a major support area here at 78. So as long as that 78 remains in play, then we should be looking for potentially a bounce to the upside. Notice all the moving averages, however, are still above price. Okay, and the most important thing is the CTC histogram on either side remains red. So the overall sentiment is still looking negative. However, it is being capped for further shorting opportunities by that major support and resistance level here at 78. All the other traders out there, including the big boys, will be aware of that. So as long as price remains above here, then potentially long term we could see price almost giving up the ghost to the downside and deciding to actually start buying, and we should see price heading up towards 79.20, but ultimately back up towards this 80 mark, which is our long-term support and resistance level. For our chart, you can quickly see the 7800 yard price maintaining below that, and you can see reattempts of this 78.65 mark. We've seen price pulling back quite sharply, making a move and then pulling back, making a move and pulling back, and you can see roughly around that 78.60 a lot of consolidation areas. You can see price actually finding support and resistance at this level and pulling back towards that 78. So there's a lot of movement just between these 2 points, and ultimately if we're going to see potentially purchasing sentiment coming through long term, then we do need to see 78.60, 78.70 here, which include the institution moving image being broken. So as it stands at the moment now, look for negative sentiment to dictate or to remain in play as long as price is trading in this conservative range. If we want to see price moving to the upside, then we do need to see 78.60, 70. Most important institution on this time frame, the 4 hour, being breached to the upside before we see any reattempt or likely reattempt of those areas up here at the 8. You'll notice on the past couple of hours, well, you can see a lot of indecision candles. We did see a nice little upside movement here on our last 4 hours of trading. However, not a very convincing positive candle. You would like a nice bullish engulfing, if anything. The doji before that at the start of the play last night on the Asian session, not really all that good. And you can see most importantly all the institutions, all the moving averages are still above price, so it's still very negative, and you can see the CTC has gone red. So this is to fall to the downside. Then we do need to see this little intraday area here at 78.20 being breached to the downside. Nice bearish engulfing candle, and then it should confirm that we should be looking for price to reattempt 7800 quite soon. So hourly chart, let's have a look at that hourly chart. All the moving averages above price. Notice the RSI is trading below the 50% line, and as long as it does that, then we're telling us the sentiment is still looking negative. And if we get a break below that 78.20, nice bearish engulfing candle, nice close below that, then we should ultimately potentially see another reattempt all those areas down towards the 76 mark. So as it stands at the moment, I look for negative sentiment, a break above 78.70, 78.70, 75.80, then we should be looking for positive sentiment long term. Otherwise, look for potential shorting opportunities for intraday. That's it, guys. Have a fantastic trading day today. There's not a hell of a lot of news out today. In fact, nothing at all. To be honest, nothing really going to move the market. Well, nothing that's really taking the trade. But still be aware, though, the things happening behind the scenes. Still got issues with Europe. That's not going to go away in a hurry. So it could give us a nice idea. We could see some movement today. And just keep your trading simple, guys. I keep mentioning, and I'll keep mentioning until the cows come home. It's so important that you actually maintain a lot of focus when you're trading. You've got to keep it very regimental. You've got to keep it very mechanical. Take away that emotion from your trading, and you'll find you'll be a lot more successful. So if you have any rules there, please follow those rules. Be systematic with them. Back it up with sound money management rules, and you will not go wrong. Okay, you'll have a lot more winners than losers, and that's what we want as a trader. Okay, so have a fantastic day, and I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. Until then, trade serenely.